Hey everyone, we are the group 5 and we are going to discuss soil chemistry. In our discussion, we will enable you to define and understand the importance of soil chemistry. We are going to explain the different components of soil chemistry. We will define and identify the process of absorption, as well as analyze and evaluate ion exchange, and lastly, assess the soil pH. Let us start by defining the soil chemistry.
What is soil chemistry? Soil chemistry is a study of chemical characteristic of a soil. Soil chemistry is affected by the mineral composition, organic matter, and environmental factor. It is a branch of soil science that deals with the chemical properties, constitutes, and reaction within the soil. Soil transport and move water that provides home for thousands of bacteria and other creatures. That is why soil is not just important for human being, but also for other creatures such as bacteria, insect, and especially for plants. Soil chemistry involves a chemical reaction and process between these components and a particular focus on investigating fate of contaminants and nutrients within the soil. Knowledge of soil chemistry allows scientists to monitor, control, and predict the effect of pollutants in the environment. Chemical, chemical knowledge combined with the understanding of the earth and science, physics, and biology are indeed understand and prevent environmental issues within the soil.
What is the importance of soil chemistry? Soil chemistry is the study of how elements and their compounds are distributed between and within the three principal phases that comprise the soil, the solid, liquid, and gaseous phases. Chemical properties of the soil are important to soil fertility, plant growth, and reproduction. That is why it is important to understand how chemical properties of the soil interact to affect the soil's capacity to store and release nutrients and how soil chemistry can affect the soil structure.
Let's define the parts of the chemistry that we'll tackle for this video. Soil components, sorption process of a soil, sorption and precipitation.
We're also going to learn about ion exchange, soil pH, and organic matter interaction. Let's move on to the soil components.
Soil components. Soil piece is a blend of soil physics that shifts all around. It is a significant part of supplement the executives. Soil contains air, water, and minerals just as plant and creature matter, both living and the dead. These dirt segments fall into two classes. In the primary class are biotic components. All the living and once living things in soil, for example, plants and bugs. The subsequent class comprise of abiotic factors, which incorporate every single non-living thing. For instance, minerals, water, and air. The basic components of soil contains mineral, air, water, and organic matter. The composition of the soil can fluctuate on a daily depending on numerous factors such as water supply, cultivation practices, and or soil type. The amount of each of the four major components of soil depends on the quantity of vegetation, soil, compaction, and water present in the soil. A good, healthy soil has sufficient air, water, minerals, and organic material to promote and sustain plant life.
Now we will talk about the organic components of the soil. As stated above, the soil is composed of 5% organic matter, and it is the residue of plants, animals, and organisms after they die. These dead organisms will undergo the process of decomposition, and up to 15% of soil organic matter is fresh organic material and living organisms. Another one third to one half is partially and slowly decomposing material that may last decades. The best kind of soil for farming creation contains a liberal measure of natural matter. Natural matter can be local to the dirt or added through the utilization of added substances, for example, fertilizer and excrement. The natural material of soil is called the humus, and it is comprised of microorganisms, dead and alive, and dead creatures, and plants in shifting phases of rot. The thick brown or black substance that remains after most of the organic litter has decomposed is called the humus. The humus improves soil structure, giving plants water and minerals. Next, we will talk about the benefits of soil organic matter. First is it is essential to nutrient recycling. Many of the nutrients used by plants are held in organic matter until soil organisms decompose the material and make the nutrients available for plant to uptake. Organic matter is especially important in providing nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, and iron. A soil with 3% organic matter contains about 3,300 kg of nitrogen per ha, and depending on the rate of decomposition, 10 to 50 kilograms may become available to plants in 1 year. Next is it improves water dynamics. It improves water infiltration, decreases evaporation, and increases the water holding capacity. Stabilized organic matter can act as a sponge that can absorb about 6 times of water as its weight. This can make the difference between crop failure or success during a dry season. Next is it improves soil structure. Organic matter reduces crusting, especially in fine textured soils, improves aggregation, which prevents soil erosion, and prevents compaction, which maintains aeration in the soil. Last benefit of soil organic matter is it enhances plant growth. With high levels, organic matter provides a nutrient source for the crops, allows crops to be less susceptible to unfavorable weather conditions such as dry spells, and promotes extensive root growth. In dry areas, organic matter plays an important role in helping crops remain productive during dry periods. This is because the organic matter acts as a sponge to absorb water during rainfall events, releases water slowly during the growing season, and it is a source of nutrients for the plants.
Inorganic components of soil. The inorganic material of soil is composed of rock, slowly broken down into smaller particles that vary in size. Soil particles that are 0.1 to 2 mm in diameter are sand. Soil particles between 0.002 and 0.1 millimeters are called silt, and even smaller particles less than 0.002 millimeter in diameter are called clay. Some soils have no dominant particle size, containing a mixture of sand, silt, and humus. These soils are called loams. The inorganic components are subdivided into crystalline and non-crystalline types. Inorganic matter typically constitutes the majority of the soil's components. The inorganic portion of soil consists largely of alum inosilicates. Typically, feldspar minerals comprise 60% of an average inorganic rock. Inorganic materials are classified as A. Primary minerals, derived from weathering of rock, and B. Secondary minerals transformed as fine particles. Primary minerals comprise a major portion of the sand and silt fraction.
Sorption process. Sorption process is a physical and chemical process by which a substance accumulates or gathers within another phase or on the other phase boundary of two phases or stage. The substances that gather or accumulate are usually gases or liquids. Depending on the phase of accumulation, a differentiation is made between absorption and adsorption. Adsorption, the process which there is addition of atoms, ions, or molecules from gas, liquids, or dissolved solid to the surface. According to the dictionary, absorption is a process or action by which a thing consumes or gets consumed by another, while adsorption holds in an entirely extremely thin layer of molecular to the surface, or in other words, sticks to the surface of solid bodies or liquids, which they are in contact without entering it. Absorption is the process of sticking or adhering atoms, ions, or molecules to other surfaces. It involves absorbate, or the substance that is absorbed onto the surface, and absorbent, or the substance on the surface of which the absorption takes place. There are two forces involved in absorption: the physical forces and the chemical forces. Physical absorption is a kind of absorption which attaches the target substance on a chip. Physical absorption can also be referred as tissue absorption. The most common type of physical absorption are van der Waals and electrostatic complexes. Two examples of this physical absorption are clays and silica gels. The other forces involved in absorption are chemical forces. Chemical absorption can also be called as chemisorption, in which it takes place with formation of unilayers of adsorbents on a absorbent. When forces of attraction exist between absorbate and absorbent, chemical forces, absorbent are chemical forces. That process is called chemical absorption. Under chemical absorption, there is what we call the inner sphere complex, when ions bind directly to the surface with no interfering water molecules. And those are the forces involved in absorption.
Absorption, by the process by which one substance takes up another substance through minute pores or spaces between them. It involves absorbent, a material that has the capacity or tendency to absorb other substance in soil chemistry. Soil is the absorbate, which is the material that is being absorbed.
Absorption and precipitation. Soil particles have the ability to capture different nutrients in soil. Absorption is the process which moves one or both another. So soil particles has the ability or the capacity to capture different nutrients in iron. These ions are the nutrients that are has charge and is the one substance na ma-absorb or absorb in this case. Soils that have high absorption and hold a lot of extra iron and mineral contaminants like phosphorus and heavy particles. Soil precipitation occurs during chemical reaction between chemicals to the soil solution forming the solid. So yung soil precipitation is merong yung ion is surround siya and abang siya sa tinatawag nating hydration sphere. Itong hydration sphere is a collection of water molecules that are physically attracted to the ion because of its charge. Alam naman natin na water is bipolar and it means that it has positive and negative charge. So, hindi siya maka-attract sa at ion or tapos sa soil precipitation is ito nabubuo yung mga nutrients which is the primary nutrients of the micro and macronutrients. One is first is nitrogen, then phosphorus, potassium. Ito yung required ng plants na second nutrients are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Required ng plants ito sa small amount lang. Tapos yung trace element is uh, very rare siya pero nandun siya sa soil particle which is iron, zinc, copper, boron, manganese, molybdenum, and chlorine. Um,
Ion exchange. Ion exchange usually describes a process of purification of aqueous solutions using solid polymeric ion exchange resin. More precisely, the term encompasses a large variety of processes where ions are exchanged between two electrolytes. Now, what is ion exchange process? Ion exchange is a water treatment method where one or more undesirable ionic contaminants are removed from water by exchange with another non-objectionable. Then, why is ion exchange is important? This is the big question. Ion exchange resins are useful for the removal of water problems including hard water, scale buildup, nitrates, and arsenic. Ion exchange resins are useful for the removal of water problems including hard water, scale buildup, nitrates, arsenic, and more. What are the different types of ion exchangers? Ion exchangers are either cation exchangers, which exchange positively charged ion, or anion exchanger, which exchange negatively charged anions.
Soil, soil pH or LRAP is an indication of the acidity or alkalinity of soil. It is measured in pH units. Soil pH is defined as the negative of the reading of hydrogen ion concentration. pH scale goes from 0 to 14, with pH 7 as the neutral point. As the amount of hydrogen ions in the soil increases, the soil pH decreases, thus becoming more acidic. From pH 7 to 0, the soil is increasingly more acidic, and from pH 7 to 14, the soil is increasingly more alkaline or basic.
Soil pH. Effects of soil organic matter on soil pH. Soil organic matter interaction. Soil organic matter is a complex material that occurs naturally and plays a critical role in soil fertility, global carbon cycle, pollutants in soil, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy is one of the most powerful structural elucidation tools available and has played a quintessential role in discovering the complex chemistry of soil organic material. Nuclear magnetic resonance has also been used to study interaction with soil organic material and other soil organic material conformation. The sheer versatility of nuclear magnetic resonance and its ability to study soil organic material in a number of states makes it an invaluable discovery tool for soil organic material research. Effects of soil organic material on soil pH. Increased plant productivity. Plants growing in well-generated soils are less stressed by dryness or excess water. Increased fertilizer efficiency. Available nutrients that are not taken up by the plants are provided by soil organisms in organic matter depleted soils. These nutrients would be lost from the system through a process called leaching and runoff.
Reduction oxidation chemistry. An oxidation reduction redox reaction is a type of chemical reaction that involves the transfer of electrons between two species. An oxidation reduction reaction is any chemical reaction in which the oxidation number of a molecule, atom, or ion changes by gaining or losing an electron. Redox reactions are common and visual to some of the basic functions of life, including photosynthesis, respiration, combustion, and corrosion or rusting. Okay na.
Oo, ito. Oo, ito. Goods na.
Rules for assigning oxidation state. Number 1. The oxidation state of an individual atom is 0. Number 2. The total oxidation state of all atoms in a neutral state is 0 and in an ion is equal to the ion charge. Number 3. Group 1 metals have an oxidation state of positive 1 and group 2 an oxidation state of positive 2. 4. The oxidation state of fluorine is negative 1 in compounds. The size of nitrogen generally has an oxidation state of positive 1 in compounds. And 6. Oxidation solution generally has an oxidation state of -2 and compound. Number 7. In binary metal compounds, group 17 elements have